gonna finish. La la la,
wait till I get my money right.
Tupac told me back in the days, you know, you had to get your money right and then you go to war. So I'm going to war.
Excuse me, was you saying something? You can't tell me nothing.
Y'all finally touched the person that's not gonna take it anymore.
You can't tell me nothing.
Okay, can I finish?
Interview adjourned. Peace.
There is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger that an announced need for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your girl Kelly, and we are back once again for another video. Thank you so much, guys, for clicking on this video. And if you are new here, please, guys, hit that subscribe button. I would so greatly appreciate that. And if you're not new here, then I want to thank you for returning. I want to thank you for subscribing, for commenting, liking, just being here in general with me. I'm so grateful for all the new people that have come onto this channel and given me kind words or interaction or, you know, subscribe to the channel. You guys are awesome. And I don't even know what else to say. Like, I'm you know, like, I'm getting emotional, but I don't know if it's because of JFK or if it's because of all the new subscribers, but either way, guys, I thank you. So guys, we're going to get into a little something today. I wanted to jump on here and talk about a couple of presidents, guys, and just our nation, our country in general, and the peril that we're in. You know, it's a lot of bad stuff going on, guys, and so I felt the need to come on here and just chit chat with you guys about it and see what y'all thought. And yeah, we're gonna get into President Trump and just a couple things there. Honestly, the bulk of this video is probably going to be about Kennedy and what happened with him. So I don't know. Have you guys heard about this? Have you guys heard about, you know, the recent developments in all of the documents that were released by the National Archives in regards to the Kennedy assassination? What do you guys think of it? If you haven't heard of it, then I'm going to bring a little bit of information for you guys today. We're going to go over that. Not like doing a thorough deep dive, but it is very interesting. So hopefully you guys will be able to provide some more insight for me, and I will be able to provide some for you, and we can kind of, you know, talk it over and see what's going on about that, because, I mean, my goodness, it just seems the more and more we learn about our government, you know, the more disappointed, you know, everyone can collectively say that we become, you know, with our government as a whole, and this swamp that we got going on, y'all. It's just really, it's not a good look, okay? So we're gonna get into it, guys. So y'all please leave me a comment, like the video if you like it, and, you know, subscribe, guys. I would love any new people out there. Please subscribe to the channel. This is going to be an ongoing thing, and if you like politics, if you like culture, if you like true crime, conspiracy theories, all of the just hit that subscribe button and you will not be disappointed, okay? So let's get into Trump first, okay? Because I just want to get that over with. You know, I don't know. If you aren't new to this channel, you know, it's no surprise here that I am a fan of Trump. You know, I'm like, you know, I love Trump, honestly. I will say that. I do. I think he was a great president, and I think that the media just perpetuated this entire narrative surrounding him that was it was just insane. The campaign to like discredit him and to slander his name was so outrageous and so just beyond anything that I've ever seen. It kind of fueled the fire for a lot of people. So I think that the reason why you do have so many people that are like so polarized on either side of the whole Trump thing is because of the media. And that is kind of like, it ties in well with the other story that we're going to get into about JFK, because it's like, that is part of our problem. When people talk about the swamp, we're not just talking about like politicians. A lot of it has to do with our media and our very, very dishonest media, and how they have been propagandizing people and lying to people and shaping narratives for people that are too like naive, or just don't care enough to go out and seek truth on their own. So they're just going to believe whatever is told to them. And it's also in the education system, guys. It's not just the media. Like, there's been tentacles that have been spreading throughout this country for decades. Okay. And they've been pushing things that aren't necessarily true, or, you know, they've been trying to get people to think a certain way. And if you don't think that way, then you're discredited, you're demonized. And it's just a whole lot of mess, guys. So I saw it firsthand, you know, all throughout President Trump's first term. And, you know, at first I liked him, like I liked President Trump, but towards the end, I became like, you know, a real big, like, rabid supporter, because I could just see what they were doing. And it was all the like little dishonest tropes that they tried to put out there about, like, you know, the narratives, like things that he said, they took it out of context and said that he said it this way, not that way. And if you just did your research, did your own research, and went and looked into these things that the media was saying, then you would have been able to see it as well. And so it got you to think, then, like, if they're after him so bad, why? Why is it? Because he wasn't doing bad things in office. You know, if you look at his track record, he actually did really good things. He could have done a lot more if he hadn't had all these people against him. And not just the media, but like his own party, you know, like the Republican Party was after him as well. It was outrageous. It's actually an utter disgrace to our institutions as a whole. And I think it really put a bad taste in people's mouth, you know, because, I mean, like, look at all the distrust that there is now with like with all of our institutions. Like, I mean, so bad. And a lot of it had to do with COVID, but it all stemmed from like the Trump presidency. That's where it all kind of began. And so now we have this like horribly divided country, and, you know, everyone's blaming one another, and we shouldn't be looking so much at each other, like citizen to citizen, as we should be looking at these institutions and why it is that they're trying to mold people's minds and make people think a certain way and turn people against one another. That's what we really should be looking at, guys, if we really want to get down into it. So let's get into it, though, guys. I want to talk about this Trump L that came, because listen, as much as I love Trump, I will be the first one to criticize him if he does something that I don't agree with. And that's how we should be, that we should be holding our people, our politicians, whoever we support, accountable in every sense of the word. And so if I don't like something, like the vaccine, that was the very first thing that, like, you know, he ever did that I really just, it made me like resent him a little bit. I was like, no, you're not, you need to shut the hell up. Like, you know, stop with this. But recently, guys, he came out with something else that, you know, was so close second. He really ground a lot of people's gears. Okay. Like he really just, I don't know. He missed the mark with this one, to say the very least. So let's talk about the NFTs. And I don't know, no one really cares about this, honestly. Do you guys care? Let me know in the comments. I didn't care so much as it was just like a slap in the face, honestly, because it's like, what are you doing? He came out with this big announcement saying that, like, oh, he like teased it, like, oh, America needs a superhero we need to save our country and this and that. And, you know, I have a big announcement coming tomorrow. And so everyone was like, okay, shit, like, what's Trump going to do? Like, what's he going to say? You know, what kind of plan does he have? Is he going to announce a vice president? And no, it was none of that. It was none of that, guys. He came out with this bullshit right here. Okay. So, yeah, let's get into this, guys. Let me just shrink this down a little so we can see the article, and then I'll get into it. So, yeah, first of all, NFTs are done, okay? Stop trying to make NFTs happen, Donald Trump, okay? No, we're not doing that. Just like Fetch, okay? Forget it. So, he came out. This was his big announcement, okay? And as it turns out, it was kind of a troll, but we'll get into it in a second. I just want to, like, skim over this article. Donald Trump now has an NFT collection, and crypto Twitter can't even. Oh my God. This is from decrypt.co. So, in brief, former U.S. President Donald Trump has released NFTs minted on Polygon, which I don't even know what any of this shit means. Y'all let me know in the comments. Like, are y'all into crypto? Like, I mean, I bought some, like, whenever all this stuff was, like, going down, like, a year or two ago. But thank God I didn't, like, put a lot of money into it because, and I still have some crypto. Like, I'm holding on to it because the market's just terrible. But I don't get any of this. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. I wish I had never honestly fallen for it because it's like fake money, right? In the universe, it's like whatever. It's like floating in the atmosphere. I don't understand it. Anywho, y'all let me know. So, let's see. Donald Trump today launched a collection of NFT trading cards that claim to come with real-life benefits for buyers, including an invite to a gala dinner with Trump or even a meet and greet with former U.S. president. And NFT enthusiasts and Trump supporters are incredulous over the news. So I think this was real vague too. Like, an invite, like, so did everyone get an invite to the gala? Like, everyone who bought one? Or was it just a certain few people? Like, who got the one-on-one dinner? Like, who got the meet and greet? Like, I don't know. It was very vague. As soon as he came out with this, I got pissed. Like, I put it on my community tab on my YouTube channel. And I was not with it. If he had not shortly thereafter come out with a different announcement, which we'll get into in 1 second, then, like, he would still be on my shit list now. But, you know, that's neither here nor there. I was just so done with this. I was like, are you serious? Are you serious? First of all, our economy's in the dumps, and you're gonna try to, like, come on here and, like, tell us to get a $100 digital fucking NFT, okay? This thing, this right here, this is what you want us to buy, Trump? Yeah? Okay. At least the vaccine was free when you were shilling that, but that's neither here nor there. So yeah, guys, each card features an illustration of Trump. In some cases reimagined as a superhero, cowboy, or astronaut. But in reality, the ex-president left the office in disgrace. Oh, wait, what? In reality, the ex-president left the office in disgrace after encouraging... Okay, you know what? Fuck you guys. Like, literally, fuck this. Like, you know... He did not encourage anything. Like, January 6th, first of all, whatever your thoughts about it were, it was a riot. That's all it was. It wasn't no insurrection. It wasn't no nothing. Like, it was bullshit, honestly, if you ask me. If they were going to do it, they should have, I don't know. I'm not going to say nothing. But I'm just saying, you know, all these people try to make it out to be this, like, thing, and that Donald Trump, like, started it. No, he didn't. Like, just don't even talk to me if that's your take. If you are so dishonest that you can't actually look at it in a non-biased way and, like, put your hatred of Trump to the side, then I just don't think we have anything to talk about, because there's no getting through to you. So yeah, these were the cards, guys. People were not happy at all. So Autism Capital, which that's a funny name. So, yeah, people were pissed, guys, you know, from all walks of life. But more importantly, like, some of Trump's biggest supporters were pissed. You know, I was on Telegram, obviously, because I can't be on Twitter because Elon Musk is a dick. But, like, all of his supporters on Telegram were, like, just giving him the L, like, handing him the L swiftly. And Autism Capital said, we can't. It's too much. And he posted a picture of all the different, like, NFTs that Trump has to offer here. Take a look, guys. Just take a look. Take a look, okay? This is probably the only one. This one, and is this, like, gold bars? Like, these two, yeah, okay. Those seem accurate depictions of his life. But, like, everything else, like, my God. You want to... This? Like, what is this? What is this, sir? What is this, Mr. President? My goodness. I'm going to unadopt myself from you if you don't stop this madness. Okay. So the wolf of all streets, that's funny too. I have so many questions and comments, but really just in disbelief and confused and hope it all goes to zero post haste so we can start again. So, you know, same. Let's just burn it all down. So, Yeezyeth. Donald Trump is launching his NFT collection. Sell everything. The bear market won. Oh man. So Robbie Starbuck, which I like this guy. He's pretty good. Hard truth time. This is not good. We're facing a threat to civilization from far left Marxist extremists. Teasing NFT cards as a major announcement is not the kind of fight people want to see now. These are dark times. Love the guy, but this turns many off. Agree or disagree? And I agree, Robbie Starbuck, 100%. Okay. So how it started versus how it's going. Okay, so how did it start? let's get into this little meme magic that this woman posted. My account is still suspended, by the way. Fuck you, Elon Musk. Okay, so Aubrey Strobel said Donald Trump tweeted back in 2019, not a fan of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, which are not money, and whose value is highly volatile and based on thin air. Unregulated crypto assets can facilitate unlawful behavior, including drug trade and other illegal activity. And versus how it's going now, credit card or crypto, all you collect, trumpcards.com. Yeah, so he's shilling the air, the utter air that is cryptocurrency, guys. Not good luck, Donald Trump. Not good at all. So what do y'all think about that, guys? I mean, he was going to be, whoever advised him of this needs to be fired, like, yesterday. And he needs to really take a look in the mirror, because a lot of people are crying out right now. The people that do support him are, like, desperately crying out to him to say that, like, you know, we want you to be the guy. We do. We want you to have your second term. You know, we want you to be able to, like, make things better, because we know that he can. But whoever is around him advising him right now is not it at all. And, like, this just is not, this is tragic to see, honestly. So I hope he's listening. I hope he puts his feelers out to be able to listen to some of the, you know, the people that, like, his would-be advisors might try to shield him from. Because he needs to just gain some perspective at this point, because this is so far removed from anything that is, like, close to, like, what his base or anyone else in this country wants, that it's honestly quite amazing. So if had it not been for this announcement that came out, guys,
longer have a country.
Okay.
Furthermore,
Calm
to
down,
confront the
sir.
problems of major
Sir.
platforms.
Thank you so much. So had it not been for him coming out with this announcement, which we'll play like 30 seconds or so, the beginning parts of his statement, and then I'll read to you guys the plan that he came and talked about. Literally, probably the next day. I think he came out with the NFTs, or maybe later on into the day, he was like, oh, okay, well, actually, here's this also that I have, which should have been the news. That should have been, like, his breaking announcement. Like, his, you know, he had this big, huge announcement teased up, and then he comes out with the NFT thing first, and then comes out with this. So this was kind of like a wah type situation, but it was good. Like, this was actually good, what he was talking about and what he is proposing here in regards to free speech. It was actually an amazing plan, and it was you know, I don't know, it was like remnants of, like, 2016 Trump, where he's, like, coming out, you know, like, fighting and, like, in a hard ass kind of way, which is what we need. So let's listen to just a little bit of his announcement, and then I will read off to you guys the bullet points of what it is he was talking about, because I don't want to play this whole almost 7-minute video.
If we don't have free speech, then we just don't have a free country. It's as simple as that. If this most fundamental right is allowed to perish, then the rest of our rights and liberties will topple, just like dominoes, one by one. They'll go down. That's why today I'm announcing my plan to shatter the left-wing censorship regime and to reclaim the right to free speech for all Americans. And reclaim is a very important word in this case, because they've taken it away. In recent weeks, bombs...
Reclaim is the best word. Listen, I have the best words, and reclaim is one of those words, and we must use it. We must fight. We must do this. So, yeah, this is what we love to see, you know. He's just naturally funny. He's naturally charismatic. He naturally has a hold of my heart, honestly. And I can't help it, guys. I cannot help it. You know, like I said, like, I'm rebellious, so I don't know if it has to do with that. You know, maybe deep down in my psyche, it's just like I like things that when people tell me not to like something, I like it, you know. But let's neither here nor there. Let me read out to you guys the points that he made in this video in a short format, and you guys tell me whether or not you agree with this or disagree with this, because I thought it all sounded good. I mean, I personally am a person who has been silenced by big tech platforms, and so I'm one of these people that I feel like he's referring to, you know, because it is wrong what's going on, and I believe that anyone should be able to have a voice on social media, whether or not I completely and fundamentally disagree with you or not. You know, you should be allowed to say these things, because we should be allowed to have discussion, and whatever idea, you know, you want to purport, you know, I can provide an opposite view to that, and then we can like talk it out, and we might come to a resolution, or we might agree to disagree. It's fine. We used to have that. Now we don't. So this is President Trump's plan, okay, in short format, for restoring free speech, okay? So ban federal agencies from colluding to censor American citizens, which what they were doing with Twitter and other big tech platforms. It comes out just the day before yesterday, or yesterday, like sometime this week, that like the FBI was actually paying Twitter for its time to censor Americans. So get your mind around that, guys. The FBI, who we pay their salaries because our tax money pays them, we're then using our own tax money to censor us. Isn't that just wild? It's like you're taking out of your own pocket, and you're not even doing it. It's like your government's coming around and saying, "Hey, time to pay your dues. We're taking care of things over here, so you guys need to chip in." So begrudgingly, we give money to the government, who then gives it back to tech platforms and tells the tech platforms to ban our free speech, violate our Constitution. I mean, it's really outrageous. It really just gets me going. So let's keep going with the list. Whew. So ban taxpayer dollars from being used to label speech as mis or disinformation. Fire every federal bureaucrat who has engaged in domestic censorship. Immediately send preservation letters to Biden administration and big tech giants. Order the DOJ to investigate all parties involved in online censorship regime and prosecute any and all crimes identified. Revise Section 230 to drastically curtail big platforms' powers to restrict lawful speech. Stop federal funding for all nonprofit and academic programs engaged in censorship. So this includes the universities, who are also doing this, and who are making it to where that if you have a certain viewpoint on certain college campuses, then you're made to feel like a pariah. Certain college campuses, if you're a Republican on those campuses, then like you better watch your back, like, because you're going to be targeted. And God forbid you want somebody who is conservative or Republican to come speak at your campus, because I don't know if you guys have seen the videos of like people like protesting and acting the damn fool on these college campuses, acting like deranged, demonic, possessed idiots over like somebody like Charlie Kirk coming to speak at their campus. Which Charlie Kirk is a I was about to say something really mean. Charlie Kirk is a simp, okay? He's a softie. He's like nothing. Ben Shapiro too. Like, these people are scared of Ben Shapiro. I mean, it's just it's wild to see. If you haven't seen it, I would suggest you guys go check it out. So, last part of this is suspend federal dollars to any university that is engaged in censorship support activities. Enact criminal penalties for federal bureaucrats who partner with private entities to violate your constitutional rights. Impose a 7-year cooling off period before former intel and national security officials can work at big tech platforms. And pass a digital bill of rights. So I love it. I love that plan. I think that's great. I think that's that's the least we can do, honestly, because it's time that we get back to like being able to say what it is we want in this country. Like, people have become too soft. If you're offended, you have every right to be offended. I'm not gonna like stop you from being offended. I'm not gonna say like, hey, you need to cool it and go somewhere with that shit. Like, no, you can be offended. You can be offended to my face. You can disagree with me. But this whole idea that we need to shut people down and shut people up because we don't like what they say or they think it's offensive or this, that, and the other. Like, no, we need to bring back like the idea of like shame, accountability, and just, a little bit of like hard, tough love in this country, because otherwise, if you guys want to like live in a society with like all of the easily offended blue-haired snowflakes that we see in today's society, I pray for you and your mentality, because you're going to come to a point where you're going to like look around and you're not going to recognize what it is that's surrounding you. And that's all I'll say. I don't want to be hateful, but we're in big trouble, guys. And so that's the least that he could have done. He did it. I thought it was a great plan, and I agree. I fully support that. So one other thing I just wanted to lightly touch on, because I think this is also bullshit. The January 6th committee apparently came out and said that they wanted to refer him for criminal charges in regards to January 6th. And this is another just tactic that is being used by our swampy ass politicians in Washington, D.C., who think that they can control us. And that's all this is control. I mean, they want to take away the people, like the citizens' ability to elect somebody that they deem that they want to represent them as president. That is one of our fundamental rights, our constitutional rights as citizens of this country. And the people in Washington, D.C. want to make that decision and take that decision away from us. I mean, really, if you have a good grasp of what's going on and you really think about it, guys, I think you'll understand the frustration and the outrage that this type of thing should invoke in you. Because, I mean, just, he didn't do anything. He didn't incite an insurrection. He had a rally in Washington, D.C., and it got a little bit out of hand, not due to anything that he said. You know, people have used politically charged language forever, since the beginning of time, and his wasn't even that bad. I've heard other politicians come out and outright threaten or, you know, invoke violence on people, and that's not what he did. The people who were there were angry that day, and rightfully so, okay? There was a lot of shit going on with that election, and people were angry. So you cannot really blame anybody. And look at everything that had happened prior to. That's another factor that people tend to forget. We went through a summer of 2020 BLM riots that were just horrific. So, I mean, there was a lot of emotions, and you cannot fault President Trump for what happened on that day. I'm sorry, you just can't. And if you can't honestly have a discussion about why, you know, and present factual arguments to me about why it is that you think he was at fault and you want to call it an insurrection, I mean, you better come with some big guns, because otherwise I'm going to just look at you as an idiot, because I have looked at this, and the January 6th committee was a joke. It was all Democrats on that panel, besides like Nancy Pelosi's little pets, Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger. So it's just all a big ass joke. So I don't think this is gonna happen. I don't even want to read this article because it's just gonna make me mad. I'd rather get into JFK, but y'all let me know what y'all think about this. I don't think this will come to anything. If they do this, if they really do, I fear for our country, because the fact that they're even recommending the DOJ charge, Donald Trump, they don't want, you know, they want to put it on Merrick Garland, and Merrick Garland's already got a chip on his ass, you know, over not being able to be a Supreme Court justice. So I don't know what he's going to do, but if he wants to start some real big shit in this country, I think he better consider it really, really well what action he thinks he should take on this issue right here, because this is coming from a partisan committee of losers and hacks, and they're trying to take away the right and the will of the people. So think carefully, Merrick Garland and others, and let's just move on from this. I think we all just need to move right on, because if not, then it's not going to get pretty at all. So, guys, let me know what y'all think about all of that in regards to Donald Trump, and I would love to hear your thoughts, guys. It's very, very interesting, and I'm very passionate about this because, like I said, I am a supporter of Trump, you know, and I just think that whatever he's got going on right now, he's tired, you know, he's not his old self. Even that speech that he gave announcing this run for presidency just was not it. You can go back to my channel. I did a video about that. But so I am praying for him. You know, I hope that like between now and 2024, he can get his shit together. We still have, obviously, you know, yay 24. We don't know where that's going. There's a lot of balls in the air right now, guys. So it's yet to be seen. We got a lot of time. But I think that this is a travesty, what's going on. Really, honestly, I do. And so, y'all let me know, guys. And so without further ado, I want to get into JFK, guys. And I will put this here first. So if you are not a fan of, you know, violence and gory content, I guess, like it's going to be a little video at the beginning of this. I'm going to show you guys the video in question of JFK being assassinated on, this happened on, I believe it was was it on live TV? Or it was being recorded for sure. I don't know if this was being broadcast live, but there was people there that witnessed this. Obviously, he was going through like a motorcade, like through Dallas. And so I'm going to show that. So I just want to say that, you know, if you are one of those people that does not like to have, graphic content shown to you, then I would click off, maybe for the next minute or two. So, and then I want to know your guys' thoughts. I'm going to start off with the video just so we can kind of get that out of the way. And then we'll talk about the documents that have been declassified from the National Archives. And I want to tell y'all what I think about JFK, and I want to know what you guys think. So, without further ado, let's get into that video. Let me switch over to this. Okay. All right, guys. So, again, beware, y'all, because it's disturbing. Honestly, it really, truly is. I mean, I found this hard to watch. So, I'm going to zoom in so we can see it better, though. I think this is it. Okay. Let me make this video bigger. And yeah, so you're gonna see the whole shebang bang. So give you guys a little countdown so y'all can know when to click off. So 3, 2, and 1. I don't think there's any sound, but I'm gonna kind of walk you guys through it. So they're coming. This is the Dallas, Texas, or whatever. The little motorcade's coming. Okay, right here, you're going to see him get shot for the first time right here. See, he holds his hand up, and then the second shot's going to come right now. Yep, you saw his head explode right there? Yeah. So, okay, so that's Jackie Kennedy, who after he gets shot for the second time, she panics and she freaks out, and she's trying to grab his brains from the back of this vehicle. But the interesting part of this is, guys, is that if we take it back a little, okay, he gets shot, like I said, for the first time, and it looks like that shot came from the front, like the very first one, and then it looked like the second one came from the back. So this all, this all leads up to the conspiracy theories that surround JFK's death and his murder. But you see where his arms kind of go up? That's the first time he gets shot. Because he's I think he's disoriented, and he's like, well, what just happened? So he's kind of being blocked by this sign here, but let's just kind of I wonder if I can do it in slow motion. Let me play with this. This is on BitChute, guys, so I don't use this one very often, but I can't find videos on YouTube, then it's okay, so I can do it a little bit slower. So let's try to see if we can see something here. Okay, so right here, he puts his arm up. He just got shot. He's like, what the F was that? And so Jackie's concerned. She's like, what just happened? So then you could see the second shot come in, and his whole entire dome piece exploded. And so that's when she starts freaking out and trying to grab the pieces and I guess put him back together. I don't know. I feel it's awful for her. This whole video is horrific, to be quite frank. And, I don't even know. What do you do in that circumstance? What do you even do? There's nothing you can do, honestly. So I want to show you guys the picture of the, of the back seat. Is this the right one? I hope this is the right one. Oh no, this is not the right one. Whoops. Is it this? I'm sorry, guys. I had the picture of the back seat I wanted to show y'all. But maybe I clicked out of it. I think I might have clicked out of it. But it was pretty graphic as well. Yeah, I clicked out of it. Sorry, y'all. But what do y'all think about that video? Does it look like the bullets and the shots came from two different areas? To me, it does. There's so much to go into when it comes to JFK. I have done it. I think I've done a deep dive with my friend Lynn. One of the very first videos that we did whenever she and I had our little podcast going was about JFK. And I have questions. I have a lot of questions. I do not feel like Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone or on his own volition. I feel like there was definitely some collusion with our government. That's a given to me. It's I don't trust a thing that they have to say. And all of these documents they keep releasing at a slow pace. It's just to appease certain people, and it's just to say, oh well, you see, we've given you all mostly everything, we've released 90% of the documents, and there's really nothing there, So what about the other 10%? What about the stuff that you will never release because you say there's quote unquote secrets in it, or military secrets, or classified CIA business that we'll never get to see? What about the information that's been destroyed? What about that? So the government tells us what they want to tell us. They don't owe us anything. You know, they might act like they do. They might act like, oh yeah, we're being transparent. We've saved every document that ever corresponded to this event. Did you? Did you really? Let's look no further than 9/11, guys, and what happened with Tower 7. And that's all I will say about that, you know, because that's a whole different story. If we really want to get into the bullshit. But I'm just saying that, like, you know, and that's why people question things that they do today, that they're not, that people say you're not allowed to question anything at all, because if you go against the government and what they tell you, then you're just a crazy person and you're a conspiracy theorist and you're wrong and you're this, you're bad. But it's like, are we? Like, please tell me why. I mean, is it unheard of that the FBI or the CIA would destroy a document that is that's going to incriminate them? Is that really all that, you know, far-fetched? Have you guys ever, like, covered up information that might, you know, that leading to something that might incriminate you? Not necessarily, like, having to do with a crime, but, like, have you ever covered up your tracks on, like, a lie or whatever the case may be? I mean, is that not in human nature? So, yeah, guys, I think that if you don't believe in conspiracy theories, I think you're crazy. I think you have something wrong with you, because you have a problem with listening to authority, and I would classify that as you being a sheep, you know. So think a little bit outside the box, and y'all let me know what you guys think, because I feel like if you're watching this video, you're definitely smarter than that, and you don't just, like, you know, listen to just whatever you're told like a good little girl or boy and go on about your business. So I would love to know you guys' thoughts. I do want to get into, I played a little bit of it at the beginning, but JFK was such, oh my God, like, okay, he was a Democrat, but we used to have, like, our political parties did not used to be the way that they are now. So, like, liberal Democrats, like, original, like, the you know, the ones from, like, back in the day, the classic Democrats, the classic liberals, they were a different breed, and they honestly are they're more aligned with, like, I would say, like, the far right, honestly, you know, when it comes to social issues, not necessarily, like, fiscal issues, but when it comes to social issues, we align, I feel like, more with them than we do, like, they do with, like, the far left Democrats of their party today. And JFK was just, he was it, dude. He really was. Like, he was anti-war, you know, and I feel like that was a big reason why he was killed, you know, he was assassinated, because our government was not about that, and they're still not about that. They want war hawk presidents. They want to support the military industrial complex. That's how they launder their money. That's how they do what they do. And this is what they want, guys. Like, this is why we're helping and funneling all this money to Ukraine, is because of the military industrial complex. Why do you guys think we stayed in Iraq and Afghanistan for 20 years? Why were we there? What happened? What did we do? How did we help those countries? Did we at all? No, we didn't. I mean, just look into it. That's all I can say is look into it. Do your own research. But there's a reason why, you know, people are angry right now at our governments, and, like, why people are so anti-war and just almost, like, have become, like, isolationists, because we don't need to be pouring any more money into wars, into foreign wars that do nothing for us, or for the world, for that matter, you know. And who's to say, who's taking an account for all that? Who is over there responsible for the money that is being poured into these places? And God knows where it's going. I mean, it just, if you really sit and think about it, you might drive yourself crazy, and I have quite a few times, because it really just does hurt your heart to understand what it is that's going on, and that you almost feel like in a way, we really are powerless against it. So JFK was very anti-war, and, you know, I feel like he was just kind of, like, set up, because there was this whole thing with Cuba back in the 60s, and he came into this his presidency, you know, with this already looming over his head, where our government had been planning this whole, like, attack on Cuba to try to unseat Fidel Castro, and he kind of walked into this, and so there was no way that he could have, like, backed out, but he wanted to. I feel like he genuinely wanted to. So I want to get into this video here, show you guys just some of Kennedy's words, and then we're going to get into a little bit of the files that were released, and then more so just kind of like the conspiracy surrounding his death. So let's get into this first. We're not going to play the whole thing. I just want to play, like, the first little minute or so. And wasn't he so hot? Like, I'm sorry. No disrespect, but JFK was
Ladies and gentlemen,
who was it? I'm sorry.
the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it. Even today, there is little value in opposing the threat of a closed society by imitating its arbitrary restrictions. Even today, there is little value in ensuring the survival of our nation if our traditions do not survive with it. And there is very grave danger
Okay,
that an
is
announced
so
need...
Guys, I want to pause it right there. I'm going to let him go a little bit longer, but I want to pause it right there. People have lost this. People have really, it's lost upon people the importance of what he just said. And it really does kind of like make me a little emotional. Like, what good is our country? You know, because this country is great. I don't care what you think it is. Name me a better one. Name me a better civilization where people have been freer than they have been in this country. And I promise you won't be able to find one. But we are losing a lot of that. And it's because of the traditions of this country, our ideals, and, you know, people that have come in and wanted to change things. People that think that it's bad, you know, tradition is bad, you know, our morality is bad. We shouldn't judge people. I'm sorry, no. That's not how you run a civilization. You know, I'm not saying we should be rude, we should be mean, we should be hateful, but the way that we built this country and the way that we built what we built is by having some sort of standards and holding on to traditions. And that is just so lost on people these days that they think that, like, you know, it's like you're like the Antichrist if you believe in traditions, you know, if you believe in upholding things, if you believe in being patriotic or being, you know, loving the nation that you come from. And it's really insane to me, guys, how fast we lost that as a country. I mean, this is back in the 60s. This is what, 70 years removed? Like, not even that, like 60, 70 years ago, that we had these sorts of values that we just are lost now. We're just lost as a nation, and it really makes me sad. So I'm going to let him go a little bit longer, and then we'll get into it.
for increased security will be seized upon by those anxious to expand its meaning to the very limits of official censorship and concealment. That I do not intend to permit to the extent that it's in my control. And no official of my administration, whether his rank is high or low, civilian or military, should interpret my words here tonight as an excuse to censor the news, to stifle dissent, to cover up our mistakes, or to withhold from the press and the public the facts they deserve to know.
Yes.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. No president.
What a king. I didn't even want to stop it, honestly. I wanted to let him keep going, but I don't want to just, like, you know, I don't know. I try to, like, you know, do what I can to make these videos not so long, but what an utter king. Like, and just his words have such great meaning now, even more so now than they did back then. Back then, people probably kind of like went over people's head, and it's still going to go over people's head today because we have even more retards now than we ever did, but if you really sit here and think on what he's saying and understand, if you really look into what he's saying, he's speaking from like the grave. Honestly, he's speaking to today's what's going on in today's society from back then. I mean, he is something else. He was hot. I'm sorry. It wasn't just that. He had a mind. He had a brain. He had it going on, guys. I mean, I love to see it. Honestly, I really do. Rest in peace, JFK. He was one of a kind, and I feel like, he's like a modern day populist type of president where he was all about, being transparent, allowing dissent, not stifling the media. And that is like just that's everything that's happening right now, and that is a sign of a sick society and a sign of a dying society, if you ask me, because if you don't want to hear dissent, if you don't want to hear an idea that differs from yours, you cannot really be reasoned with, and you are you're coming from a place of dishonesty and like really just utter disgrace. So guys, what do y'all think about that? I would definitely go look at this whole speech. It's great. I wish I could play the whole thing. I kind of want to, but I'm not gonna. So I'm gonna stop myself. But let's get into, I guess or do I want to? I'll play that. I'll play that last. Okay. So let's get into the declassified documents. Okay. So I'm not gonna read this whole article, but I do just want to touch on this. I mean, it's a lot. You can go read them for yourself. They're just declassified now. But like I said, it's kind of obsolete. It's unimportant to me because the government's going to give us what they want to. They're going to do what they want to do, and so whatever it is that they're releasing, it's not. It's pointless because they're not going to release the meat. The steak of it all. They're not going to actually release anything that is going to harm them in any significant way or that incriminates them in any significant way. So from that perspective, it's like, what are you giving us this for? Thanks, I guess. But we'll get into it, I guess. Whatever, it is what it is. So the Biden administration, this is from The Intercept, by the way. He declassified a new clue to the relationship between Lee Harvey Oswald and the Central Intelligence Agency, or the CIA. Among the intersections between Oswald and the CIA, his time as a young Marine at the Atsugi Naval Air Facility in Japan is high among them. So Atsugi, what actually happened? Let's find out. Atsugi was a launching pad for U-2 spy flights over the Soviet Union and was also a hub of the CIA research into psychedelic drugs. A CIA memo titled Truth, Drugs, and Interrogation revealed the agency practices of dosing agents who were marked for dangerous overseas mission, wrote David Talbot in The Devil's Chessboard, his 2015 biography of former CIA Director Alan Dulles. Okay. So what does all this mean? So a new document released in full last week relates directly to Oswald's time at Atsugi, revealing details about the CIA's response to testimony from a former agency accountant that the spy service had employed Oswald, who went on to be a gunman in the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. So, the CIA's role in Kennedy's assassination remains one of great unsolved mysteries of American history. Okay, so a majority of Americans believe the president was killed as part of a conspiracy theory that went beyond Oswald, and roughly a third believe the CIA or elements within the CIA had a hand in it. And I would say that the number's low, and you need to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers, okay? So the main theory posits the assassination as a response to Kennedy's firing of Dulles, who we just spoke about up there. He is a cloak and dagger power broker following the failed CIA Bay of Pigs operation to unseat Fidel Castro's communist government in Cuba. So that was one theory that, this Dulles guy masterminded the whole thing. And I don't really know who it was. We'll never know who it was. I'm not even going to sit here and theorize about it because it's so old news that we will quite literally never know. And you can comb over articles, you can comb over documents, video, anything you want. And it's clear to me that Oswald wasn't the only one that was involved in this. That's all you need to know, really. And it's also clear to me, based on how the government acted and the things that were going on around that time, that there was involvement with them. I mean, he was a CIA agent. He was an operative of the CIA, and he was working for them, and it's obvious. So it's like, I don't really need to know all the specifics just to know that y'all are fucking out of there, okay? So yeah, that's all we really need, okay? So there's other theories. I don't want to get into all that about the Vietnam War, this, that, and the other. So, let's see. From the House. Okay. A memorandum from 1978 reports that a finance clerk with the CIA, James Wolcott Jr., had informed a House panel exploring the assassination that the CIA hired Lee Harvey Oswald when Oswald served in Atsugi. The memo goes on to cast doubt on Wolcott's claims, noting that he arrived in Tokyo in 1960 after Oswald had left the base, suggesting that Wolcott's claim is based on secondhand information. You know, y'all would discredit it. Y'all would do that. Makes sense for y'all. Yeah, okay. So, a version of the document was declassified by the Trump administration, though it redacted a portion of a note that runs along the bottom of it, which is just what I was saying. You know, they give you the information that they want to give you, and whatever they want to cover up and they want to hide, they're going to hide it. So it's like, what is the purpose? What is the purpose? Okay. So, let's go on to this. Oswald's next few years make much more sense with connection to the CIA than without them. After studying Russian while in the military, perhaps trained at the Army Language Center in Monterey, California, sourcing the claim to the Warren Commission Chief Counsel J. Lee Rankin, Oswald was discharged with a false claim of his mother's ill health. So basically, he was in the Army, he was learning Russian, and he was discharged because he said his mom was sick. And, you know, was that actually the case? Was he actually, like, you know, discharged on his own volition, or was this all part of the plan that the CIA wanted to send him to Russia to be implanted as a Russian spy and then bring back the information to the United States? Well, let's read on and find out. All right, so completely broke. He took a boat to England 9 days after his discharge. And then he took a military transport flight to Finland, staying in Helsinki for 2 nights. And then he took an overnight train from Helsinki to Moscow. Excuse me. Once there, he presented himself at the U.S. Embassy to announce he'd become a defector. Embassy staff later recalled that his defection speech sounded odd and rehearsed. He spent 2.5 years in the Soviet Union, and then, just as curiously as he defected, he returned home to the United States. So that's odd, guys. Like, you know, why would he do that? Why would he say that he's a defector? Which is a pretty serious thing. You know, if you know anything, like I know, you know, you can't just really do that. Like, let's look it up. Let's look up defector, just so we can get a better understanding of the word. Because it's pretty serious. It's like you're denouncing your citizenship, pretty much. So do we have just like a person who has abandoned their country or cause in favor of an opposing one. So, you know, if you become a defector, or if you denounce your country in this country, you know, that disqualifies you from owning a gun. Like when you do a background check, that's one of the questions that's on that form. And there's not many, you know, there's like 10 questions that they ask you. And that is one of them. Have you ever denounced or defected your country? And if you have, you're basically considered an enemy of the state, you know. This is the word that they use whenever people like run away from North Korea and they go to South Korea. They call them defectors because it's like you're basically, you know, dead to them at that point, you know. So it's like, why would you return to the U.S.? Doesn't make any sense. So let's read on further. Okay, so if the series of moves from the discharge to the flight to the defection to the return were made at the benefit of the CIA, they make sense, with Oswald playing some type of role in the inscrutable world of spycraft. Absent an intelligence link, the tick-tock of Oswald's post-military years would be situated somewhere between extraordinarily implausible to impossible to pull off. The CIA is known to have explored creative uses of psychedelics, and Dulles was specifically aware of these activities, even proposing some of the uses. On March 2nd, 1960, according to a declassified CIA report, the CIA director briefed Richard Nixon, then the vice president, on a proposal to deal with the Fidel Castro and Cuba. The report, which appears to be another version of a previously declassified document, included plans for economic sabotage of cane production and interference with oil deliveries. So this is the type of shit, guys, that we do. I mean, this is hard. This is hard to understand, and like, maybe in some circumstances it might be warranted. I can't really see one right now. I think that we need a cooling off period where we're not getting involved in other people's governments, other countries' governments, and trying to sabotage their leadership just because we don't like it. You know, we don't like it. So we're gonna, you guys are being mean. We're gonna come in there and wreck your country, and we're gonna impose our will upon you. I see something wrong with that. I'm sorry. I'm not for it. No, I'm really just not, you know. So, but all of these war hawks and these power-hungry, greedy bitches that exist in the swamp of Washington, they're all about it, guys. This is what they live for. So this is really what it boils down to. A more innovative idea presented in the briefing, according to the CIA, appears to be a reference to dosing Castro with LSD, which the agency was at the time experimenting with. Nixon was told that the agency had a drug which, if placed in Castro's food, would make him behave in such an irrational manner that a public appearance would have very damaging results to him. Wow, that's your plan? Let's give him some LSD and make him speak in public. Look at... Oh my god, this is honestly laughable. Like, and they pay people. They pay people to come up with these plans. Like, some high level... You know, probably paid like $1 million back then. Some high level person was like, you know what, guys? Stop everything. Stop the presses. I've got it. Let's give Castro LSD in his food, right? Okay. And then let's like have him do a speech, and he's going to sound all weird and kooky. No, isn't that great? Isn't that good? Is that good? No, you're forgetting one thing. Look at Biden. Look at what we have right now. He's an actual retard. You know, dementia-ridden retard who speaks in public all the time and embarrasses himself and everyone at all times. But yet nothing's happening there. It's not, you know, people still voted for him. So I don't know. I just don't like the plan. It's not very good. Let's go back to the drawing board. So the CIA's claim to have had no contact with Oswald is undercut by the fact that George DM, a CIA asset, became close friends with Oswald in the months before the assassination. Isn't that weird? That spring, DM traveled to New York, Philadelphia, and Washington. According to documents found in the newly declassified files, at the same time as his trip, the CIA's Domestic Operations Division ran a search on DM, exact reasons unknown. According to two documents created by a CIA analyst included in the last week's declassifications. So a bunch of weird coincidences, guys. What do y'all think about them all? I don't know. So the covert arm of the division was run at the time by E. Howard Hunt, a black ops specialist who confessed later in life to learning ahead of time of a conspiracy to assassinate Kennedy that involved high-level figures in the CIA. So isn't that great? Isn't that just great, guys? Yeah. It is interesting that Allen's interest in DM coincided with the earlier portion of this trip, the memo concludes, referring to Gail Allen, a case officer with the CIA's Domestic Operations Division at the time, and the information would suggest that possibly Allen and DM were possibly in the same environment in Washington, D.C., circa 26 April 1963. So, yeah, guys, what do y'all think about all of this fuck shit our government's into? My God, are they just something else or what? You know, now you can kind of start to see why 1776 and all these revolutionary wars happen. You know, why just, you know, in recent like memory, I can recall, you know, what was it? What's that little country? Was it Qatar? I don't know. Where they like bum rushed the prime minister's house. It was one of those like Middle Eastern countries. But there's been several of these instances. You know, there was also that one that happened in Europe. Turkmenistan or fuck, I don't even know. I can't think of countries right now, guys. I'm so angry at everything. But fuck the government, literally. Fuck everyone's government. Why can't the people govern themselves? Why do people always want to put a boot on others' neck? I will never understand that. You can be as power hungry as you want to be, but why is that allowed? Like, why are there that many people that like are just okay with like being controlled, first of all, and second of all, allowing things to go on that they know are wrong, and they just look the other way because that's the easier thing to do. It's truly bewildering to me. So I want to talk a little bit about these issues that were mentioned in this article. So if you guys don't know, this all, I believe, happened, and this kind of like ties in more to the conspiracy theory that like our government had something to do with it because of what was going on around this time. And I'm just going to briefly touch on this, and then we'll get out of here. So the Bay of Pigs operation, right, that was a failed operation, was basically perpetuated to unseat Fidel Castro, okay, April 17th, 1961, the abortive invasion of Cuba, on the southwestern coast by some 1,500 Cuban exiles opposed to Fidel Castro. This invasion was financed and directed by the U.S. government. So does this remind you guys of anything that's going on right now in current day? I don't know. I mean, it's like, maybe it rings a bell of Russia, Ukraine. Like, are we supplying them with weapons and, like, training them to, like, fight governments that we don't like? Is that going on over there? I can't remember, honestly. Y'all let me know. It seems like it makes sense, but, the cognitive dissonance is real. So, I don't know. So, within 6 months of Castro's overthrow of this guy, Batista's dictatorship in Cuba, so he only had 6 months to do his thing, and before the U.S. government was like, "Oh no, sir, we don't like you. We don't like you. So we're gonna do something about it. We're gonna interfere in your country and your politics and your relations. So, not in our watch." So relations between Castro's government and the United States began to deteriorate. So the new Cuban government confiscated private property, much of it owned by North American interests, sent agents. So you're telling me that Cuba reappropriated their own land that, is within their borders? They were like, okay, you America, you might own this land, but we're taking it back because it's quite literally on our soil. Kind of like how, that's kind of like how the world works in general. Like what we did in America, we were saying, like this is, we're living here now. We have ownership of this land, this country. So you guys need to get the fuck out. I see no issues, but of course, greedy America, we wanted whatever acres we had in Cuba in addition to all of the land we have in America. And I'm not one to say like, colonialism. I don't want to be a simp for that issue because I disagree. Like America was totally righteous and we were totally justified in doing whatever it is we did to acquire this land and this country, which is ours. It belongs to no one else. But I'm just saying, like, doesn't Cuba also have that right? And they fought for it, which good on them. Like we lost this whole mission. It was a failure. It was an utter failure. So basically, yeah. So this is all about like a land dispute, I guess. And so that's why the relations went to shit. And so they painted Castro as this like horrible communist that we needed to overthrow, or else Cuba was going to be in all this trouble. And they failed, guys. They were literally captured within how much time was it? Let's see. Blah 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 blah. Let me see how long it took. So an invasion of Cuba had been planned by the U.S. CIA since May 1960. So like I said, President John F. Kennedy, he walked into this, and there was really no backing out of it because they were going to do it, one way or another. And I think he ruffled a lot of feathers with his opposition to this, and he didn't want to do it. So his hand was kind of forced, and then it kind of just all got bad from there because they failed, and I'm sure behind the scenes, President Kennedy was like, yeah, bitch, I told you so. I told you so, you little warmongering hoe. And, just, they didn't like that. They don't like being told that they're wrong. So, it's a lot of fuck shit, guys. So, on April 15, 1961... U.S. airplanes brought these Cuban dissidents or these like refugees or whatever to go and fight the Cuban army, and they got embarrassed, okay, by April 19th. So a whole 4 days later, the last stronghold had been captured, and along with more than 1,100 men were then imprisoned and I'm sure subjected to horrific conditions by the Cuban government because here you are on our land fighting us, trying to go against your own people. So shame on you, shame on you. And that's just what they did. So we had to capitulate to them, pay a whole bunch of money to get those people back and up out of those prisons, because it was our fault that they were in there to begin with. And these are just things that happen. These are, if you look through the history books, well, you won't find it in the history books, but if you look through certain channels on the internet, you'll see that this is like our jam. This is what America's been doing for quite some time now, and people who are aware of it are sick of it. We really are. We're tired of sending people, our people, or like unwilling participants like Ukrainians into these wars where they're bound to lose. You're fighting a failing mission, whether you know it or not, and then we have to pay for all the damages that is left in the dust of all this. Because, sorry, our bad, whoops, sorry, that was our bad, guys. We'll just, let's just fix this, and then we'll forget about the whole thing, right? We won't even write it in the history books. Yeah, right. Okay, got it. So that led to the Cuban Missile Crisis, guys. So this kind of this all snowballed into something even bigger, which then led to the Cold War. And so after this whole thing happened with Cuba, Russia started working with Cuba. They wanted to put nuclear weapons in Cuba, which is if you guys know anything about the layout of Cuba, they're not that far from us. They're very, very close, especially to Florida. So the idea of Russia coming and putting a nuclear war head, pointed right at our country didn't sit well with us, guys. So that's how we got into a Cold War with Russia. And that's how we are in the situation that we're in today. We're now Russia's demonized in our political landscape. And, we still go at it with them. And they're still our biggest enemy, even though they're really not. And it's just a bunch of ridiculous shit. And JFK was opposed to all of it. So that's why he had to go, guys. That's just my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know. Let me know. So if that didn't make your skin itch a little bit and make you kind of feel a little creepy crawly.
Hey guys, Editing Kelly here, and I just wanted to come on here because it's probably going to sound a little choppy at the end. Yeah, I had to remove a portion of this video because YouTube are some little overlord bitches, okay, just to say it politely, as politely as I can. And they didn't like my clip, guys. That there's this clip that I was going to play for y'all of Walter Cronkite announcing live on air the JFK assassination. A historical moment in time, if I might. But YouTube, they don't like things like that. They said no, we're not having it on this platform here on this day. So I just wanted to explain that to you guys and say thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, and just do whatever you can do, guys. I so greatly appreciate it. And sorry again for the choppy nature of the end of this video, but we can all thank YouTube for that. So see y'all later, guys. God bless.
I just wanted to point this out if you aren't unaware. We do a little improvising at the end of the video when your shit just doesn't work, okay? You know what? We're just going to go ahead and end it, I think. Let's take it out with this. Let's give it to Kanye West's other song, okay? Love y'all. Bye.